This one. Share my screen. Share. Bam. You guys can see that, right?
Yep.
Let's see who else popped in here. I didn't see. Go. All right, like I said, I'm recording this, so I'm going to get started. And if people come in late, they can just catch up on the recording anyway. So here we go. Actually, I'm going to stop the recording and restart it so that I have a fresh start. All right. Welcome, Bighorns, coaches, board members, high schoolers, anybody else watching this at home later on. I know a lot of you text me, so I appreciate that. 20 minutes. I'm going to keep it at 20 minutes. Promise. I got my chat thing up, so if you have any questions as we go, feel free to type them in there or just kind of save them to the end and we'll get to them. I'm Coach Dahl. If you haven't met me yet, I coached with Helena's JV team last year. And like I was telling Kyle, unfortunately, my wife moved me to Great Falls in May, so I'll be up here next year. But long before I moved, the board, Miranda, Kelly, Joe, and myself, we kind of got together and came up with an excellent plan for Helena's summer skills. I was new. I wasn't sure if they had done something in previous years, but this is my first year and we're going to start it out right. So I've done this for a couple years in Arizona. We had a great spring and summer skills program. It developed a great hockey culture for our program, gave the coaches maybe some extra looks on the players, and at the same time, on top of culture, on top of like coaches getting extra time on the ice, it doesn't get into like specialization, right? If it's only two times a week, if it's only an hour, and there's no team focus, it really doesn't affect USA Hockey's ADM for like what is specialization, especially in these younger groups. And then I only have one soapbox for this presentation, so I'm going to get it out right now. The biggest thing about this to me is cost, right? So those of you that have kids that play hockey, you go online, look at hockey camps around here or anywhere. They're all $300 to $500. That's a new hockey stick. If that camp's in Bozeman, that's some gas in a hotel. These are like $1,000 hockey camps, right? So I wanted to create like a really cost-effective hockey camp for the association that kind of gets us prepped for the season for tryouts without, breaking the bank. Or, if you're in a week-long camp and you have to miss a day, you miss 20% of the camp. Whereas here, you don't miss as much hockey. So that's kind of the intent there. And I think we did a pretty good job of getting after it. Next slide. Okay. So this is the agenda. We start on Monday. I have a weekend to kind of finalize a couple do outs that I'll discuss, and then we're after it. So here we go. Let's keep this under 20. The program overview, I'm not going to read it. You can kind of take a look at it, but I've taught skills at the 12U level and higher for almost 5 years now, and I've never lost a game. My players have never lost a game playing skills. It's a lot of fun, and when the skills are not fun skills to learn, we find a way to make it fun. It's completely different than practice, and a lot more engaging, right? And the sport of hockey is played in small areas, especially at the younger levels. It's played in small areas, and full ice flow drills are awesome for team development, but they don't provide the same opportunity that skill sessions or power skating sessions or small area games provide for the players. So more or less, that's what we're trying to get after in doing this. The schedule, most of you seen it, but Mondays are pretty easy. We hop on at 5:30. Or not we all, I hop on at 5:30. I'm off at 9 o'clock. Those of you are somewhere in there. And then on Wednesdays, there is an hour and a half spacing between the U12 and the U14 groups getting on the ice. It's a bummer. I don't think it's like that for the second session in August, but it is what it is, and we'll get around it. And then I love to highlight, man, that cost, right? $120 for the players, $60 for the goalies to get out there. That's like the cost of stick and puck or open hockey, and they're getting coaching, right? It's great. I love it. Um, what the practice plans look like, in my concept at least, is we hop out there for the first 20 to 25 minutes. I work with the kids with power skating, whether that's putting them in line, whether that's working out of the corners or through the zones. I take them for the 3/4 of the ice on my end to start out. The other quarter of the ice I give to the goalies, whether that's warm-ups, whether they're working with the goalie coaches. They have their area going on there. Most of the days, that leaves us 35, 35 minutes of time left for skill stations. So we try to break that down into 3 skill stations, 10 to 12 minutes with each group, with groups being about 6 to 8 minutes. And I'll kind of break that down in 2 different ways for you here. This next slide. So as it's broken down for the entire session, this is what it looks like. And this is kind of what I'm going to base my daily lesson plans off of, right? So it does work in order. We kind of start out pretty basic, and then we work our way up through the advanced skills. And the one thing I do want to talk about here, I'm going to kind of go through the 3 slides pretty quickly because you can pause at home on the video. But if any coaches have any drills they want to bring that they just love, they've used it before, it's great, I absolutely encourage that. I'd love to see that out there. But I just ask that they try to keep it within the progression that we're in, right? So if we're on, let's see, 6U here. If we're on 6U week 3, I don't really want to teach give and go passing yet, right? So if you have this amazing give and go passing drill, maybe hold that out till session 9 and don't just throw it at them when we're just trying to learn or develop passing in motion or stationary passing or something like that. But I definitely encourage any drills that you want to bring out there onto the ice. All right, like I said, I'm not going to get in the weeds. I just want to leave these slides up for a couple seconds. And they can pause there at home. Perfect. So that was the big overview. And then on a daily basis, or on literally a skate basis, I'm publishing practice plans for each age group for each skate. So this is just a cutout of it. I use a website called IHS Drills. I think maybe quite a few of you out there do. I know the varsity team was using it. So you don't have to sign up for any accounts or anything additional. When I send it out, it's just a link and it kind of opens up like a PowerPoint or something like that, and everyone can view it. So included in that description, and what I like to talk about, not to, we got high schoolers on here that have never coached before that will maybe get a chance to. So I'm just kind of breaking it down here. How I do it is I always include 4 coaching points in every single one of my drills. And then when I'm teaching, I get my kids in, I tell them, hey, this is what we're doing, this is how it's going to go. And I make sure I always highlight 2 of those coaching points, right? And then as we progress, whether that's the halfway point and we're changing sides or directions, maybe I introduce the other 2, or I can introduce the other 2 on an individual basis. Say I introduced edge control and body positioning and talked about it, but one player is not scanning in this drill. I might be able to just attack that on an individual basis, or at that halfway point, break it down for them then there too. So you'll always see 4 coaching points. The drills will always be laid out and published at least 24 hours prior. So, if I can do it 48 hours, ideally, that's what I'll probably go after, but within 24 for sure. The work rest ratio, a little bit different than practices, and where we may have that 3-to-1, it's 2-to-1 out there. So standing around is okay. Like we want kids to get their rest because as they progress, they start out working at 50% as they progress and they get to those 100% reps towards the end of your station time with them. Um, we'd like to see them going into it with full energy. So we're not just trying to smoke kids and it's not just keep the kids moving, right? It's keep them moving maybe a little bit more actively than they would in a traditional full ice practice. Um, all right, yeah, we're cruising. So logistics and operations. Um, I still have some things I got to work on. So something that just hit me a couple days ago was registration because I'm not going to be doing daily roll calls, but what I'll likely do is get some green dot stickers or something that I can put on their helmets on day one. And so the other coaches, I only say that. So how you could help me out is, you may know the players, especially the younger players, better than I do. Or, maybe you don't see one of these green dot stickers or whatever I figure out on their helmets. So you can kind of make sure nobody's sneaking on the ice with our groups. Okay. Um, Locker room assignments, I'll give Jed a call tomorrow. That's easy. With the younger groups, there'll be parents in there dressing their kids and such. So I don't see it will be addressed, but I don't see safe sport being an issue. But at the 10U and 12U, I'm probably going to ask my coaches to make sure that they dress inside the locker rooms just so we're covered for safe sport. First aid is the same as the ice rink. I'm calling 911. I'm a combat medic, but I'm not licensed to do anything with you all. Um, I'll be there early Monday doing an equipment check. It shouldn't be anything too intense for the first session. So if we're missing anything, I'll be able to address it before Wednesday. And then, like I already commented, coaching coordination will be done twice a week. I'll email out on Sundays and Tuesdays the plans for Mondays and Wednesdays. Yes. All right. 2 slides to go. See, I told you 20 minutes. Easy. Roles and expectations, right? Good to throw this out right off the bat so I don't come off as an a-hole if I say something to somebody out there that they don't think is not okay. But the power skating session, it's not just me leading power skating. Like I do need the help out there with the 6U and 8U groups. That help is a lot of the time reinforcing like good behavior in the lines. And I see a lot of, these kids don't know that slew footing another kid could potentially give them a concussion or something. They don't think about that stuff, and it can get a little crazy. So helping with the lines, and then helping just with, I guess I wrote there positive technique corrections, but just helping these kids as they come up and down, skating with them, highlighting whatever I'm working on for that day. Demonstration energy, the high schoolers. So with each age group, there'll be 3, maybe even 4 high schoolers, because there might be a high school goalie out there too. So 4 high schoolers out on the ice. Use them as your demonstrators. Like I know I can do every single drill that I'm going to ask of the kids, and I'm sure you can too. But when the kids see what they consider a younger kid, a high schooler, versus an adult demonstrate these drills, it gives them kind of that sensation like, hey, I can do what this kid is doing, or I will be able to do it soon enough, as opposed to being like, yeah, like that adult coach is just asking too much of me. So, and it also, like I said, it's a culture builder, right? Like it's getting these kids working together. Set up an ice prep. So when we hit the ice, the power skating portion sometimes does involve like a lot of cones going in certain places or pads or whatever. So I ask that you help me set that up and it'll be clearly laid out. But I traditionally spend like the first 30 seconds to a minute, not too long with the kids in the corner at the other end of the ice. So it's a great time to help me set up so that when I'm done talking to them, bam, we're in line. We're going up and down the ice right away. I'm not trying to throw pads out or anything like that. Engaged presence. I mean, I hate to say it, but even like in my last association, it happens. Like adult coaches sitting around chatting on the bench when they should be on the ice. Like it's an hour. Let's get out. Let's be productive. And then situational awareness. So this is a big one too. If you're running a drill, let's say it's a shooting drill, let's try to make sure that we keep our nets, towards the boards or along the goal line, not turned in towards the neutral zone. So people are shooting pucks potentially into other zones. Or if you're doing like a rap drill or kids are picking up pucks off the wall, if it has potential to go past their sticks and go into another zone, just put a pad up or another net to kind of catch pucks and keep the ice safe and clean. Last slide. Here we go. So the dress code, helmet, gloves, sticks, skates, all your normal coaching gear. And that's the same for the high schoolers. Although if they want to half dress or even full dress in their gear, that's absolutely acceptable. But I ask that we don't wear any other association's gear. So this is from our association for our association's players. So I don't want to see like Bozeman Ice Dog or, Butte Irish or Copper King gear out on the ice. Maha is our parent organization. So yeah, if you have Maha stuff, absolutely, you can wear that stuff out there. A big do out of my, I don't know how the association's paying us. I just know they agreed to pay us. So coaches, adult coaches are getting 25 an hour. The high school assistants are getting $15 an hour. So I'll figure out if they plan to pay it at the halfway or the end point. I'm sure at the end is how they're going to do it. And then finally, before I turn it over to any questions, I just want to say thank you because, this is kind of, you will see that this pays out major dividends for the association. Like, I hope that next summer, if Great Falls doesn't have something going on like this, that they let me run the same thing. And then I hope somebody takes this over for Helena. So culture, costs, it's a great chance for coaches to learn coaching. If you lack comfortability or you're just not comfortable on ice and you want to learn, like you don't even have to coach your own stations. If you want to come out and try, you can pair up with me in a station. Um, it's whatever we can do to help out, right? So I'm going to end my slideshow and turn it over for any questions you may all have before I stop the recording. Anything? Sweet. Okay, let me stop this recording and